Hello. Welcome to Aging Well in America. I'm Anne Marie Gatttari, your host. Every day, 10,000 people in the United States turn 65 years old. Today, 5.5 million people are 85 or older. By the year 2050, which isn't that far off from now, 20 million people will be the age of 85 or older. Are we ready? Is America ready? There's so much good work going on around the country, around our state, and right here in our own community. And today we have with us a special guest, Tom Washburn from TBD Web Services, and he is going to talk to us about aging, seniors, and the internet, and how to use all of these brand new, wonderful electronic devices. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm great, and it's very great to have you. This is a topic that comes up all the time. Unfortunately, too many times the conversation is about the things that go wrong on the internet with regard to our aging population and how people are often taken advantage of. We're going to talk about that and how it can be avoided. But first, I'd like to have our viewers learn a little bit about you and your company, TBD Web Services.
Well, TBD Web Services is a company that is primarily focused on development and implementation, design, build of websites.
Okay.
Our company focuses on the website building, design, custom primarily. Those customers and clients that want to develop businesses or personal sites, build a domain name for themselves, formal or professional email addresses, those folks that want to create blogs or other marketing devices, connect their businesses with social media, different variety of business techniques.
So you said something interesting. Usually you think of a website, you think of a business, large or small, but you said a personal website. Who has a personal website?
I have a personal website.
You do? And what does it do?
Right now it doesn't do as much as it should because I'm working on everybody else's personal websites.
Okay.
But primarily the personal websites are a place for you to house your memories. They're a place for you to house your experiences.
Okay.
They're a place for you to tell your stories, and maybe it's your travels, your daily life, your family.
A journal.
Exactly.
With pictures and words and whatever else. Is it public or is it private?
Well, typically they're public because the
Okay.
internet, as you know, is a public environment.
Isn't that what Facebook is? Isn't that what people are using Facebook for?
Yeah, Facebook is a lot more. It is social media, and it's the interaction daily of what's going on between you or myself or someone else. Personal websites offer you the ability to only grant access to comment per se, or to just have a viewing source for family and friends. You don't have to have it where everybody can comment on it. So it is much more private and personal, but yet still in some fashion public.
Okay. You had mentioned when we were speaking earlier that you are designing websites for a fair number of people starting small businesses as a second, third, maybe fourth career after they retired, much
Correct.
like I did when I retired from Ford Motor Company and bought a BrightStar Care franchise, a second career. Of course, that came with a website because it's a franchise, but you're working with a lot of people who are starting their own individual small businesses and who are maybe a little older.
There are.
Their experience, do they come with, give us an example or tell us a story of someone maybe who had very little experience with the internet and using electronics, and you were able to get them started.
There are several people I'll call the older group or even the seniors that either they don't have a retirement or pension fund, or they've got some great idea. You know, we've always thought of an idea, something you wanted to do, some invention, or maybe you're just crafty. Those folks are the ones that say, I want to have a second piece of income. So maybe they started a small e-commerce site of their own. That e-commerce site comes along and they say, you know what, I got a great idea, I've got a great product. I go to craft shows, right? I do woodworking, I knit, I bake. Those types of people that have those small businesses that generate extra income, they come to me a lot of times and ask, what can we do to get exposure on the internet so our customers, after the craft shows are done per se, can then still reach us? So we can help them create 1- and 2-page websites that are very simple, very low cost, that allow them to have that business going that they can generate additional revenues from. One person was a retired General Motors person. He was into, believe it or not, soles of shoes.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
For him, his business was to sell inserts. So his inserts were an after-retirement type process. So there's a lot of variety of ways to earn money on the internet. And I think seniors that are crafty, that just want to have some hobby, and don't forget, today's seniors are yesterday's internet users also, because we're a growing, aging economy.
That's right. So tell us about how old is TBD Web Services?
We've been together about 10 years now, building sites.
During that time, you've learned a lot about internet and electronic use. Who uses it? What happens to use as people age? Those of us who, started using the internet, almost mid-career, I would say.
Sure.
15, 20 years ago, has it been?
At least.
Yeah.
But remember, though.
But we continue, right? I mean, I can remember one of the first emails I sent at a job that I was at when I was a magazine editor. I have been brought along. I'm not going to stop using it as I get older, and things might become a little more challenging in various areas of life, because, let's face it, life has its challenges for the most spry, and as we age, some things become more challenging. But we don't see this trend backing off, right? In other words, as we age, we're not going to stop using.
No. In fact, we're going to grow. And some basic facts to think about are, if we look at we'll call the senior or the older people for my conversation, say the 65 and older. That's what I'll reference as the older generation. The older generation today, 65 and over, just over half, about 55% of those people are using the internet today. Okay.
So half of that population is
of the
using.
65 and older. So let's call them 65 to 80.
Okay.
If you were to back that up 15 years and call that the 50 to 65-year-olds in 2000, only 40% of those people those same age group were using the internet. So as they've aged forward into this new bracket of 65 and over, that segment of internet use has grown, not depleted. So if we stand still today and say, okay, it's 2014, that same group went from 40 to 55%. Now those that are younger than 65, 80% of those people are using the internet. So we're going to have a growing segment where we continue to have more people using the internet, not less, as we age.
Wow, that's interesting. I think many adult children of aging parents, myself included, think or thought there was really no place for one of these machines in our parents' lives, but your statistics are really showing that that's not the case.
That's correct. There's a variety of methods for our seniors to get on the internet and utilize it, as well as a variety of purposes, which we can go into. But traditionally, a lot of people think internet, they think computers. They think big, because a lot of the people,
desktop, right?
Because that's what the older folks are used to.
Right.
They're used to a big screen, a big mammoth computer, and that's the computer. But that's not the case today, right? We all know that. Well, we do anyway, right? And many people also know there's a variety of ways for us to do that.
You've brought us some examples.
Just some things to remember for seniors, so that when they're thinking about the internet, they don't have to think about a large.
Here, do you want me to hold this for you?
This is a laptop, right? This was the solution after our big towers.
Right.
We had the big mammoth towers and the big giant CRT monitors, and this was our answer after that, right?
And
this
even that's big today.
This is like 8 pounds.
Yeah, you're not going to carry that around so much.
You're not going to carry that around. But for those seniors that have a home office or a second bedroom and they want a computer, these are a great solution because they are portable to some method, but they're hard to get to on a desktop, right? So what I like to do, for my mother's example, who's also a senior, the advantage for her when she has a laptop over a tower, certainly there's a screen. It's far enough away for her to see, But with so many desks having pull-out drawers, the
Right.
laptop, how do you put it on a pull-out drawer? So seniors need to remember there's solutions to that. They can get into other devices. They can go onto a keyboard drawer. They can still have the access they need to their laptop without having to reach up on top. They're still ergonomic.
Right.
So if they're seated in a wheelchair, they have any assisted living chairs, these are much better to utilize. Even TV tables. I think what most people, in fact, probably more than half the folks that are on the internet today that are seniors, are using more like tablets. In fact, what you have here is an example. A tablet or an e-reader. It's very small, it's very lightweight. They're usually about a pound or so. They can come in a variety of sizes from 7 inches to 10 inches, even 12 inches, depending upon the vision. Because some people have problems with vision, they can get a bigger one, but they're still very small and portable. For a lot of the seniors...
And that's touch screen, right?
Yes, that's the nice thing about this.
So you don't need a keyboard with something
Nope,
like
you can
that.
use a stylus so that you can touch on the screen to do it, which mine's messy with fingerprints because I don't do that. But my mother's a stylus person and she's a senior and she likes hers clean. So this is all there is.
Yeah.
And it's easy for them and
Right.
it's very focused. And it has internet access and you can surf the internet. You can make purchases on it. You can stay connected to social media. You can video message back and forth with your family. So these are very, very portable and readers. And if the tablet's the problem, there's devices out there if you take your tablets and you can put them into a smaller keyboard. So you don't have to have the same problem where you have this giant idea of a laptop. In fact, this is called the clam case. It's very, very nice, actually. It's probably one of the finer ones I found.
I think it's a local produced product, the clam case.
It is, but what makes
and
it
it's
incredible...
made specifically for that,
For this is an iPad, as a matter of fact.
iPad,
But what makes this versatile and why I like it and why I tell my customers about it is because not only does it turn it into what looks like a small computer,
Yeah.
I can fold it around and keep it into a tablet form, and I can
Wow.
still go back to working.
Very cool.
So this clam case is a nice go-between laptop and a tablet that's standalone, but you're still working with the tablet and you're still about 2 pounds.
Do you help? I'm just thinking about all of these options when you're trying to figure out what's the best solution for you. Do you help people shop for electronics? Will you
I have.
do like an analysis of what their needs are and say, I think you don't need all this, you might need this, or with your use I would...
I have. I have actually gone to Best Buy with some people
You have?
purchase.
You have?
Yes, I have. I've made trips to Best Buy with people that needed that help. I can't say I can do it for everybody, but it does, right? I have done it before. And it comes down to what do you want to do with it? What's the purpose? You want to get on the internet for what? What do you want to get on the internet for first? What do you, where do you want to do it at? Do you want to do it on your couch, in your office, when you travel? So those types of questions, what do you want to do with it and where do you want to do it at, help decide what kind of products you might want to have.
Good question. So if people wanted to call you and just have that initial conversation, I'm
absolutely available.
I'm assuming you would be able to talk with somebody over the phone or meet someone locally.
And if they email, the email address will go straight into the inboxes of our team at our company, and someone will respond back to them. Usually within 12 hours, someone gets a response. Great. So there's some sort of response comes from them, so they can have someone give them advice if they need it.
Okay. I know when people think about the internet, so many, this word, I hate even using it because it's so scary, but we do have to be aware and we have to protect ourselves, but scams, right?
Yeah, there's several of those.
Especially, again, our seniors, we want them to be protected, but we don't want them to be isolated. So how can they use the internet with confidence, knowing that they are not going to be taken advantage of, ripped off, stolen from?
Yeah, it is sad. It's sad that anybody, elders or anyone for that matter, but I think our older generation's a lot more trusting. They've got a lot more of that kindness factor that goes into believing what they see because they haven't been as jaded as long, right? From different things that they've seen technology-wise. I know educated people that have fallen for scams. It doesn't matter if you're educated, uneducated, rich, poor. I watch all sorts of people fall for scams.
Right?
It doesn't matter at all. The biggest scams that you're going to find come through your emails. Those are probably the #1 way people are exposed to scams on the internet. They'll come through that. The second highest one this is again my experience with my clients, is people that go to websites mistakenly, where they might type in a misspelled domain name, and it's one character off or something, and it brings them to another website, and they don't know any better. Or they'll search for something, and it'll come up with a listing of places to go for certain search, and they'll click on it. It'll take them somewhere that's not the right answer for what they need, and a virus will enter their machine and then infect it, and then that's when problems start. But the scams you're referring to.
Yeah, the email. So that seems pretty easy. I mean, you get junk mail in your U.S. Post Office mailbox on your porch. You don't open it.
You don't open it.
If you're not interested, you just put it right in the recycle bin.
Exactly.
How do you do that with email?
Well, that's the hard part, right? You need to remember that every email that comes through, do you know who it's from? Okay? Even if it comes from someone you know, it could be the result of an email that they received that was a scam, that they've acquired their address book, and they're sending things out that look like it's from them. So the content,
but it's really a virus.
Correct.
I get that all the time.
It happens.
All the time. And I can tell now if it's a name I recognize,
Title.
But the subject line is odd, or there's a link.
The body has a link inside.
They want me to press on that, so that goes right in the
Anne Marie sends me an email that says, Anne Marie wants you to look at this, and there's a link. Delete those. Just delete them. Right. The other things are, when you get emails, it might be from PayPal, it might be from your bank, it might be from a bank that's not even yours, and it'll say, we have a problem with your account. Confirm. Please click the link, enter in all your information to validate it, and then we'll turn you back on. Well, a senior may very well think that their bank has been compromised. They get frightened, they click on the link, they enter in their username and password, and it takes them nowhere. But now the people that they gave it to can now go on to the legitimate site, log in, and transfer money. So the answer to those emails is, when they get them, if there's ever a question about their account or their personal information, do not go from the email. Delete the emails. Go online to where you know the legitimate address is. Say it's Flagstar Bank. You get a Flagstar Bank email, ignore the Flagstar Bank email. Take out your credit card, call the number that's on the back of it. Correct. Say, hi, I received an email. Is this from you, and why? Or go to what you know already is your Flagstar address online and enter from there. Never use your email. Yeah, don't respond. Be proactive. And don't click out of those. Yeah, don't click on the links. Some are packages. Your packages is, we have a package being shipped to you. That's another new one. In fact, a very good friend of mine was caught by that one. She clicked a link for a missing package, and then she was scammed. So it doesn't matter. They're coming all over. And when you're scammed, what that means is you've basically given your information to somebody who wants it, so then they can now use it to steal from you, to send you. I guess that would be the worst case scenario. At the very least, it might just be bothersome that now you're getting all this marketing material from somebody or something that you're not interested in. Correct. Correct. Exactly. So you want to avoid any emails or websites that ask you to enter personal information that you don't know who they are or that they're legitimate. Okay. That's one of the big keys. My suggestion is always pick up the phone and call. Absolutely right. You can call your bank, you can call your, if you've ordered something online, you call the company that you ordered from. No matter how legitimate it looks, because even I look at them and say, wow, this looks really good. Yeah. It looks just like the real thing. Exactly. So you have to be cautious. Yes. Another one, another scam here regarding to the internet, and I think the seniors should be aware. Those that have computers, I think I brought this up before to my friends. Microsoft people don't call your house. They don't ask you for information. So, but seniors with computers that don't know how to solve problems, may take a phone call that says, hi, this is Microsoft. We're calling to tell you that your computer has notified us that there's a problem, and we need you to go to your machine right now and go on to XYZ website for us, and then we're going to ask permission to enter your machine, and then we're going to fix it for you. Just say no, because they'll never ever call you. And that's one of the latest ones they have. It's a big scam where they can get into your information. Now all the personal information you have stored there is exposed to them. So two more things, right? The internet's a wonderful place. I mean, we should not be skeptical of using it. We should be cautious on how we use it, because there's great things to be done with the computers for seniors.
So there's two things. There's emails that are coming to you that are asking you to give information, to do something that you wouldn't ordinarily do, or it's a phone call asking you to go online at that moment.
Exactly.
And give that caller access by, and they know how to do that just by.
Correct. I've had that phone call myself. It was rather funny the way I responded to it. So it was interesting.
How did you, can you say it on the
Sure. Well, they had called and said, you know, your computer was infected and we need you to go to your machine. I said, well, that's crazy because my machine is off. How did it contact you? He said, well, the hackers are really smart. This is a true story. I said, really, they're that smart? Yeah, well, my laptop is off. So how are they getting in? Well, they're that good that they can even get in when it's off. I said, are you sure? Absolutely sure. Sir, if your power's off and it's unplugged and it's not on the internet, they can still get in. And I'm like, well, I don't believe that's true. So I said, well, thank you very much for your call, but I wanted to hear more of how they would do that. So they pushed really hard to get someone to go, and they just kept reiterating how good the hackers are. Well, they were them.
Yeah, they are the hackers.
Correct.
But they weren't that good because they really couldn't get into it. That's why they called you.
Exactly. So that's what happened.
Basically, what they're asking for is permission to get into your computer to hack it.
Correct. And there's the ones, you know, that the seniors need to be aware of, that where they won money, right?
Oh, yeah.
Those are big ones that come.
Yeah.
Where they've won money. You had a relative somewhere overseas, or a friend of yours is been mugged or robbed, and they need you to send them money so they can come home.
Yes.
There's a variety of things. Just use common sense. I mean, the common sense is, if your friend's in Europe and he's been mugged, call his cell phone. If you think you've won money, you probably have not. Call your bank. Avoid the scams. But you know, don't be afraid of the internet, because it's a great way to communicate with your family.
So talk to us. We've got a few minutes left. So now we know kind of the areas to avoid to stay secure and confident. So how can we go about using it with peace of mind and to bring joy to our lives through connection, which is really what it's all about as we age, right? We want to be connected to our families, to our friends, to the world, because otherwise we're isolated, and we want to do so without compromising what we have.
I think as these generations, the 80 percentiles and the 50 percentiles, as they shift, right, and we age, and our grandchildren, who we love and adore, and we want to stay connected, become busier and more mobile and very fast, right, in their communications. The seniors have ways to be online to watch them. There are programs called Snapchat, which are apps. There's Vine. There's LinkedIn for you to keep and see what your grandson is doing business-wise. There's Facebook, which you can utilize, which is very social. You can have your friends and your groups and your pictures and your albums and your communications daily, right? Those are great ways. If you looked at social media as a whole, about 90% of our seniors that are on social media use Facebook as their method for social media. So that's a great big market of people. I think when we go on Facebook as a senior, a lot of them don't necessarily have or want to do all the interaction. They just want to be witness to their children's lives. So that's a big help for them.
I know there are a lot of classes, computer classes, and even clubs where people can get together and bring their laptop, bring their tablet, and really work together, right? Almost like a little workshop. How do people find out about those?
Social community networks. If you go to your local community, many of those, or your local senior centers, most of those people would have some idea what programs are going on. I myself will eventually need that social group, but I haven't gone searching for it myself yet, so I don't have a lot of response as to the names of them. I know they exist, and I know that most local community centers can answer those questions.
So I'm thinking here in the Grosse Pointes we have SOC, Services for Older Citizens. I know they have computer classes and electronic classes. The library, the public library would also. St. Clair Shores Senior Citizen Center has a very active group of of classes, and even a little further north, the Clinton Township Seniors Center. And then there are senior centers in almost every of our communities, Warren, Roseville, and all of them are in our, Harperwoods are in our viewer area. So that would be a good place for people to call to get the initial information. So you're go ahead.
I was going to say something to add is the internet today. Though I believe internet should be free everywhere, and I think it should be worldwide. It should be free and accessible to everyone, not based on your economic status of where you live to how much you have to pay. But the idea that some seniors still can't perhaps afford internet in their homes, the broadband that they have to have, it's a very costly thing. To keep in mind that they do not have to think that they're left out. From McDonald's to Starbucks to Panera's to the senior centers, there are plenty of places.
Libraries.
Yep,
right?
there are plenty of places they can go with a tablet, as an example, very portable inside of their purse or bag or whatever, and connect through a Wi-Fi, and then still have internet access. If it's not daily, then it's infrequent whenever they go, but just don't get caught up in that they have
Or
to
they
have
could
that.
go to the library where there are computers all set
Correct.
up, and they can
That's
use,
another option if they
right.
can't afford a device of their
right,
own.
and they can still have an email address, right, and they can
Correct.
get to that email, whether it's Gmail or Yahoo, or
Absolutely.
they can get to it through the internet at another location that is not their home.
The advantage to email, like you mentioned, Comcast or a WOW extension, if you have their own services, a lot of seniors, myself included, I will shop my internet provider, right, to keep myself the most affordable program I can have, right? A Gmail account, they're going to establish themselves a new email account. A Gmail is quite nice because Gmail is not going anywhere. You'll always have that Gmail account. So a senior that establishes Gmail,
Right.
when Comcast they change or while they change,
That's
they would
right.
lose their email.
That's
so
right.
that means they would lose all their history
Yep,
inside
I
of
just
there.
recently did that. I switched from one cable company to another, and I didn't even have to worry about that because for my private, I have a Gmail account.
Correct. So that's helpful
So.
too for seniors to be aware of.
Well, Tom, I want to thank you so much. This has been fascinating, and I know I'm sure our viewers have learned a lot, and hopefully they'll be encouraged to use these resources.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. We've come to the end of another episode of Aging Well in America. As always, we welcome your ideas for shows, those you'd like to see interviewed. Please send your ideas here to the Grosse Pointe War Memorial. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.